Hello, everyone, and welcome to From Surviving to Thriving, where we don't just talk about the fun parts of business, we talk about the struggles and everything in between. My name is Robin Carr. I'm your host. I am an award-winning keynote international speaker and an author, as well as here recently a coach, but not just any coach, a mindset coach for speakers who are ready to conquer the mindset behind taking that stage. And today I am so excited to have with me a friend, colleague, fellow speaker, Greg Arnold. So Greg is a man of many talents, but he is a performance confidence speaker who helps those in his circle and his clients overcome self-defeating mindsets so that they can thrive in their careers, relationships, and in all of their ventures. And if that wasn't an awesome enough, he also competes, trains, and is a coach in professional arm wrestling, which I didn't even know was a thing. And lastly, my favorite fun fact about Greg is that he is a voice actor for video games and e-learning courses. Greg, I am so excited to have you with me here today. Thank you so much. To kick us off, tell us a little bit about you, your business, and kind of how you got started.
Oh. Well, first and foremost, Robin, thank you so much for having me. It's definitely a privilege to finally get to be on your show. I mean, I know that we've interacted quite a bit. We've had a pretty solid network, but it really does mean a lot to be able to uh, kind of share a little bit of my story from struggle to now kind of in a much better mindset. But yeah, so about myself, I'm based out of like a little north of Cincinnati, and uh, uh, like you said, I am a speaker focused on confidence and performance, and I guess to kind of start off with, my background is rooted in competitive athletics, and that kind of shaped a lot of how I see growth. Because for so many years, for 30 years and change, I used to think that something like confidence had to be a prerequisite. But what I've come to learn, just even like as recent as last year, is that the element of confidence and self-esteem, for that matter, is kind of a byproduct of, commitments, reps, and just kind of keeping promises, not to other people, but to yourself. And that's kind of the idea that that drives the work that I'm trying to uh, build right now. Like I'm trying to build a speaking platform, and just developing tools, frameworks, trying to get into rooms to learn from people like who are further along in their journey, or those that may not quite uh be where I am yet. It's pretty yeah, it's so I'm just I'm definitely in a learning phase, but I'm definitely privileged to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So, talking about the confidence aspect of things, I do a speech on authority, and I'm curious of your takes on this. So, I say something to the effect of that authority doesn't come when you have the confidence, but the authority comes first, and then the confidence follows. So, it's a decision to own that authority, to step into whatever it is. And it sounds like you agree, right? Like it's the it's the decision to make that commitment, to make that promise, right?
Yeah, yes, because yeah, when it comes to confidence, I mean, it's uh, I did learn that, and much like what you said about authority is, it doesn't come from like when you feel that you're ready. Like it is something that you kind of step into. I mean, yeah, you can develop all the theories and the practices like all you want, but it's definitely a reality. It's a reality check once you step foot into there. And um, but yes, the confidence and I guess the feeling of being a leader and an authority just comes with the many interactions and the opportunities to kind of give your take to someone like on your team or maybe even your superior. But yeah, over time, um, like if you are put in a position, then it kind of puts you in a different frame of mind to kind of stay laser focused in in a certain situation. And it's like it would historically intimidate me to be put in a mindset like in my day job I'm a trainer and I'm a uh, I'm a mentor, and it's like it would petrify me quite a bit. But until I started getting more involved uh, with just say, okay, well, this is what I would do. Like in my experience, and and it's okay to flub because like I would always freeze thinking that, oh, this person can see right through me. So like, okay, I'm a bit of a fraud. Like the old classic imposter syndrome, would fly. But you kind of have to roll with those. How should I say, internal punches? Because no one's really critiquing you more so than yourself. So it's like no one is gonna step into a role and being like being absolutely like flawless or just knowing exactly what to do. They're going to be thrown a lot of curveballs, and it's just a matter of like you become a true leader and you grow once you step into the face of adversity and you really are challenged within reason, like not to the point of burnout, but enough to where okay, this is causing discomfort. It's no different than getting involved in like a new exercise routine, uh, and you want to maybe get stronger in your abs or like biceps. You're doing a new exercise like for arm wrestling. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. It's going to be sore the next day. It's going to be sore the next week. But after a few weeks, and if you stay committed to it, if you commit to yourself and stay disciplined, you're gonna notice that this is a lot easier. I'm getting stronger, and the the flow is just a lot, or it's just a lot more fluid in my in how I execute the lift or training somebody. So, but anyway, I don't mean to didn't mean to derail, but that's kind of the way that I see any kind of leadership role or a task or a project task.
Okay, no, I love it. That's all little gems. It's all good stuff. I love it. So let's talk about it though. So before you stepped into that confidence, before you found your voice, and I know you've been doing the voiceover work longer than anything else. What did that look like? So I guess my question is, what was it like before you found that confidence and made that decision to commit to yourself to keep going? But also, what was it? Like, was there a defining moment when you're like, I'm going to use my voice and I'm going to step into this, or kind of walk me through the struggle a little bit before you got to the thriving?
Yeah, so about 11 or 12 years ago, actually, it was 2013. My wife now, she was just my girlfriend at the time, but we went to an anime convention and got to meet a few like voice actors, and they talked about their job and how much they loved it, and despite it being hard work, and it didn't dawn on me like when I was a little kid, I dreamed of being an actor, but the narrative was you had to travel to California or New York, just like all those places, and relocating was not going to be an option for me. Uh, but it didn't dawn on me with the technology the way it is today. You could do voiceover remotely, and so my wife encouraged me to give it a shot if it was something that I wanted to do. And once we moved into our house, I just before this room here that you're seeing, we actually I utilized our bedroom closet because it had so much filtration with all the clothes, and so I I began to get coaching, start to create demos, do a lot of auditions. Eventually, I found a job off a freelancing site doing e-learning narrations for an audiobook publisher. company based out of they're actually based out of the UK, but the company I was working with specifically was in Mumbai, India. So I did a whole lot of I did hundreds of courses until they decided, okay, they're not going to do audio versions anymore. But anyway, I, I I used to maybe I don't want to say cringe, but I used to get uncomfortable whenever I would hear myself speak. Uh, but um, but I tell you, being in the voiceover industry, when you really jump into it with both feet, it really teaches you to kind of have thick skin because it's going to be about 100 or so auditions that you're not going to book before you finally do get booked. And I think it's kind of it's somewhat similar to business everywhere that I'm beginning to find. But but yeah, it teaches it taught me that okay, well this is nothing to do with me. I mean, they just have a specific blueprint for a character, and but just because you didn't get that part for that specific game, if you make some kind of impression enough, then you know they may actually shortlist you for a future project, and that's actually what happened a couple of times. So it's good to make memorable connections. But anyway, prior to that, I'm going to go back a little bit. Yeah, I was an incredibly, I mean, I don't want to say was, I kind of am. I'm a very reserved, shy person because I kind of was born with an auditory processing disorder. So any like a teacher or whatever would give me a verbal command, I would be way behind the students, and it kind of gave me I kind of manifested kind of a narrative that, well, I am different in not a very favorable aspect. So like I that I must be stupid, you know, then you know what am I going to do? How am I going to survive this? And sometimes I would give answers that may not pertain to what the discussion was, and maybe I'm just trying to catch up. I would get ostracized by my teacher, a few of my peers, and it led me to completely like keep my silence and stay under the radar for many, many, many years. Uh, like I did baseball and I tried to stay under the radar, like I was always quiet. Um, you know, whenever I would never ever volunteer to go up on the board for you know to do any kind of math problem spelling. Um, but uh, but yeah, it took voiceover for me to begin speaking. Even though it was to myself, I projected myself as a character that was really intriguing, and it kind of helped me a little bit to kind of get out of my shell and become more of a social butterfly to anybody that was in the voiceover industry. Same goes with pro arm wrestling. Now, the arm wrestling, I know it's a different story, but my father was actually a legend and has been at it since 1981 and kind of following in his footsteps. But he and I train, work out, have competed together. Actually, we've traveled nationwide. We've actually traveled to Canada for the World Championships in 2008. Uh, but that taught me a lot as well. Now, I was still very timid while I was arm wrestling. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I would always fear being looked at as kind of less than whenever I would lose, or maybe I would build enough of a reputation to be like, oh yeah, Greg's gonna win, and I would feel that pressure. Now, even though my father never made me feel like it, he was incredibly successful like in his era, and even recently, I felt like I've had this very silent pressure to like measure up to his caliber. And in doing so, it drove my mind insane with with the prospect of like, oh, like he's going to be like, well, what's wrong with Greg? I mean, like he should be a lot better than this. I mean, I would put him on a high pedestal and he would put me on a high pedestal as well. So it like even though we both had great intentions, it was still a lot to it was still a lot to overcome, but it was actually not until last year when I took um, when I took a match with somebody that was the heavy favorite. Um, and he actually just got done defeating somebody who was a higher caliber than I was, and it was a left arm, which I do compete left arm, but it wasn't really it wasn't my wheelhouse, but it was this guy's. But anyway, he admired that hustle. So long story short, I told my dad about the match, and this is the first time that he's ever told me this in the 20 plus years that I've been part of it. And he said, I don't really see you winning this, but let's let's just give it a shot. Let's just see. And so we had a big plan laid out for the 5 weeks or so that I had training for the match. And and what I noticed, like we tracked every little like rep and weight, and we were just able to measure the trajectory of my growth. I maxed and PR'd, all of my lifts for that particular arm. Now going into the match, fast forward, it's like, okay, maybe this is not enough, but you know what? I'm shifting my mind. I'm kind of taking a book from what Mel Robbins said, but she said, so from a physical symptom standpoint, fear and excitement is actually the same thing. Because like you'll have sweaty palms, like kind of heart racing, butterflies, so on and so forth. But instead of saying, instead of fearing what could go wrong and being ecstatic for the things that can go right, and if it doesn't go well, so what? I mean, you are bold enough to even try. And it gave me that mindset, and I was excited to kind of showcase how close I got. Okay, let's see how much I can close the gap. So the way the match was designed, it was a best 3 out of 5. The guy won the first two matches very convincingly, and then I had like a plan A, plan B, plan C. The first two plans didn't work. Plan C, it worked. So I won match 3, then I won match 4, then I won match 5, taking the entire series. So I pulled off a very stunning upset over the guy. That was the turning point that that what I knew what confidence was, that it was no longer a prerequisite. And because I felt so alone in that for the last 30 years of, oh, I'm never going to be confident. I don't have good self-esteem. I kind of want to be a conduit for the people that are struggling. Like if maybe they have a desire to do something, but they either don't know where to start, or they don't know who to reach out to, or how to get themselves prepped for it, or they think less of themselves. I want to help them see that they do have the abilities, because on paper I was not supposed to win that match, but I did. So it was a bonus that I did, and I was going to be proud that I went up there to begin with because I knew I was bold enough to try. Now, a second pivotal moment in my life was, you know, I would historically, that remember we talked about earlier in school, like I would self-deprecate and just, give myself a lot of negative self-talk. Um, well, it's like it it got worse and worse over the years when I became an adult, and it was last year. It was actually shortly before the match that I just talked about. But my wife was like, you and I have talked about like wanting to have kids, but clearly, in your mindset right now, you're not okay, and I can sense it. But you got to do something. You got to be okay, because if I'm pregnant, I'm not going to be okay. So I'm gonna need you to be stronger for both of us, because relationships are never really 50-50. It's either 60-40. The numbers vary, because someone's going to be having an off day, especially entrepreneurs like you and I are gonna uh, face burnout. So anyway, and shortly thereafter, she did get pregnant, and it really did force me to like that was an example of me stepping into a role like of so much unknown, uncharted territory. And yeah, it was a shaky it was shaky at the runway, but we eventually flew and everything turned out great. Now we have a healthy baby, and she's now a very happy 16-month-old, smart, uh, you know, happy child, and very, very grateful for it. And not only do I want to make I want to make myself, I mean, I do make myself proud now. I can safely say that. I want to make my father proud, and my father's my best friend, and so is my wife. But I also want to showcase to my daughter that, it doesn't matter what is stacked against you or how you may be feeling right now. Like, all that's going to be temporary. And I don't want anything to inhibit her, you know, especially within herself. Like, I want her to be able to pursue, yeah, e any dreams or visions that she's passionate about. So I want to keep being that example and everyone else.
I love all of that. You said a lot, so we're gonna just kind of
Yes.
process. You're okay.
That
No
that that
worries.
that's my ADHD.
Yeah,
Just going
you're
going along. So it's
totally fine. Um, so it sounds like for sure that leading up to the match, as well as kind of how you felt throughout your life, really positioned you well to be the speaker, that you are today, and to be the one to speak on confidence and those kinds of things. Because, like, there's so many people in our world right now who they read a book, they see a thing, they have an idea, and they're like, oh, I'm going to be a speaker. But they don't really have the story. They don't really have the compelling, like you said, that you want to be a conduit. And I absolutely love that language. You've also said, I find this funny, and I just don't want to forget. I have followed Mel Robbins for years. I haven't read her book. But I smiled, almost laughed when you said that you're taking a page out of her book, because I did a speech last October about fear. And I used that exact example, and I gave like a fear, like an analogy of going on like a roller coaster. And like you have the one person who's super excited, you have the other person who's terrified, but they both have the same physical reaction. So like that's amazing. Like I had never heard that. I thought it was my own idea, but that's okay.
that's
But I
awesome.
love that. Um, so yeah, and then your daughter, I know you've talked a lot about your daughter. Your daughter sounds amazing, and I'm sure you're going to be a very wonderful father, because you are aware and you can see like everything that's behind you, kind of how it affected you, but then also that transition, as well as where you are now. And like, like you said, even without your dad intentionally putting that pressure on you, it was there. I mean, that's true. Like in the workplace, like that's true. Like I'm a military spouse. That's true there too. Like nobody sits you down and says, hey, you need to act like this, or you need to do this, or be this person, but it's
Yeah.
implied.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love all of those things. And one thing I want to touch on, because before we run out of time, so I know, because you and I are somewhat friends now, not just colleagues,
Yeah.
you are hosting, right, an event for arm wrestling. So I want you to talk a little bit about that event, and if people can still get tickets, like who would you want to come to that event? Talk a little bit about that. Give yourself some props, because I'm really proud of you, and that idea was gold, and I'm so proud of you. So let's hear it.
Oh, thank you. So the event, it is a professional arm wrestling technique and safety clinic, and it is for anybody, wide range. It could be, from kids, teens to adults that either have like an interest in the sport, maybe they want to get into some kind of combat sport, but I love the sport of arm wrestling, and I think it is perfect for anybody. And I say that because you see so many kids getting wrapped up in like team sports, and maybe they never get to prove themselves. Like even Tom Brady, not to get off track, but even Tom Brady, never got to play as a freshman, because
Mhm.
even though his team went 0-8. But anyway, uh, but I but the sport of arm wrestling is what ultimately taught me about confidence and how I learned growth from it, and discipline. I like to replace the word discipline with commitment because discipline it's a bit of an ambiguous term. Whenever I hear discipline, I kind of think, well, maybe someone's getting in trouble. I like commitment because you're committing yourself for like the next 21 days. Find something small that you want to do, and when you do, and when you track it, you have the receipts. But anyway, so the clinic. I didn't mean to get off topic. The clinic. Uh, we're going to teach them first and foremost safety, like how not to get hurt, like how to like always look at your hand, whether you're winning or losing, never lead with your shoulder and uh, so on, and different drills on how to be a stronger arm wrestler, what the nuances of a match is, what to expect when you go into an event, what to expect when you find a practice club to kind of go into with practice club with pros. And afterwards, we're gonna have like a little mini like mock tournament to kind of get them exposed to what it's about, and kind of give a little presentation on what kind of goal setting or how to become like a better version of you. And it's going to be the first event of mine. Yeah, anybody could still get tickets on an Eventbrite link. I could actually send you the link, but you could also do like in person. It's going to be in Vandalia, Ohio, north of Dayton. Um, yeah, so it's going to be May 9th. And yeah, I'm very excited. And actually, and something I should let you know, it was actually you, Robin, that kind of inspired me to begin doing it because yeah, like one of the first things that we discussed, like when we were getting to building rapport, uh, but I was like telling you how much I struggled there, that I've been struggling to find any speaking engagements because like everyone's just like going elsewhere, or or I'm not a celebrity, or I'm just not I'm not fit for a particular event. Maybe it's like a women's empowerment event I didn't know about, but you're like, well, here's what I've learned. I started running my own events and essentially like paying others, making sure other speakers get paid, but also paying myself. And I don't know, I'm just seeing what this is about because it's not something you hear about. You don't hear any about like arm wrestling training camps or clinics. And I don't know, it's something really cool to like, hey, if there's a particular hobby or sport, and getting trained with actual pro athletes, and it's only this much. Oh, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I'm ecstatic to see what that comes out to it. It's exciting. It's nerve-wracking to go through all the logistics,
Hmm.
but it's a lot to learn. But I'm very excited for how I'm going to grow from it and how everyone else that attends is going to grow as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. And I did not bring it up for the accolade, but thank you so much. So yeah, everybody, if you are in Ohio and you want to arm wrestle or you're interested in arm wrestling, I am going to put all of Greg's contact information in the notes here. Greg, I promise I will share it. As if you put it out there, I will share it. I can't promise this will be out before the 9th. That's in like 10 days. But this is it's going to be awesome. And I'm really excited for you. I'm proud of you because what the viewers don't know, I just met you 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Is
Yeah,
that true?
that sounds about right.
November,
Was
December-ish?
it, yeah, I was gonna say it was very late, like either December or January of
Yeah.
26. So
So
very recent.
let's put this into perspective. 4-ish months ago, we'll say, you didn't really have a sense of direction. You were kind of frustrated not getting on stages. You didn't really know what to do next. And now you have your own event and you're confident. And now you have 3 different things that you're doing. Like, how phenomenal is that?
Yeah.
Um, I just love to put that into perspective because some people, we still, as entrepreneurs, we still get caught up in the overwhelm and we still get caught up in the time management and the I got to do this and I got to do this and I need this person's asking me for this and I've got to do all these things and I'm a solopreneur.
Yeah.
But when you look back and you're like, wow, I've done all of these things in 4 months since I met this one person. Like, think about how many things you've done since you met all the people that you know.
Mhm.
It just blows my mind sometimes.
It
So
is.
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I mean, you really never know. And something that I try to, I guess, preach is that, a bad moment does never has to equal a bad day. Because be like, oh, how was your day? It's like, oh, it was just bad. Like, it seems the weight of the things that went bad tend to have more weight than all the great things that happen. But something I do think is important to point out, like you talked about like burnout and the solopreneur stuff, but how I wanted to get into speaking, I I felt I was just in survival mode constantly, like because
Mhm.
we didn't we this was right before I learned that my wife was pregnant, but I was just overwhelmed with like work. My wife used to be like a pretty successful Twitch streamer, but she had like a huge like she took a big mental hiatus because she put so much on herself and had to take a break. And but shortly thereafter is when she got pregnant. But anyway, I went ahead and I got a casting call from one of my voiceover agents that this is for an event from a friend of mine that needs seat fillers. So I got to attend this event, and it was a leader habit event, and you got to see and I got to see like Rory Vaden, Nicole Walters, Dr. David, I can't remember his last name, but he actually did talks for like the New York Yankees and so on. But there were like all these gems that resonated with me, and I actually got to read Nicole Walters' book. But but seeing that stage and seeing all the people just be uplifted, I'm like, this is what I want to do. Like this is kind of what I want to do. Like I've got I now have confidence in my voice. Let's Can I translate that to speaking? So all of this to say, for those that are like in survival mode, it is okay to take a day off, because like I had to take a day off of work in order to attend that event. But I'm glad I did, because
Mhm.
that started a sequence of events that just brought ended up bringing forth a lot of clarity and um you know confidence, and just the the feeling of purpose. And I'm really glad. So it, it it's not going to be the end of the world if you take any kind of reset. It doesn't even have to be a full day, but reset for 30 minutes, an hour, 24 if you can. And you just never know. I mean, because like our bodies are not meant to be in survival mode 24/7. Like our nervous system is not able to withstand it. That's why, people, get sick from that. And but anyway, I just wanted to share that, and I'm glad that I did what I did, and I appreciate your kind words as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you teed me up great. I was going to ask you if you had one piece of advice to give anybody, but there it is. Take a day off, take care of yourself, reset. I love it all.
Hmm.
So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here today. Like I said, you have truly become a friend as well as a fellow speaker and a colleague, and I very much enjoyed our time together. And so that's all the time that we have for today. But for everybody else who's listening, if you're in the middle right now, I want you to know this. You are not behind, you are becoming. And that is what thriving actually looks like. Bye, y'all.